Hello, good evening and welcome to TTTV. Apologies for the slightly later broadcast to this stream. Someone's update didn't want to update. My name is Andy Gamble. Welcome along to the Esports Mini League Week 2. This is League 1, rounds 3 and 4 from the Mexican Grand Prix and the Brazilian Grand Prix about to be underway very shortly indeed. Plenty have been going on. I've been stressed out no end today. We're trying to get everything all sorted. But we're in for some fantastic action coming up in just a few moments' time. We've had League 3's already finished. League 2 is still just finishing off as well. And I can't spell anything in the streams. It's rounds 1 and 2, but there you go. Sam needs an invite. Cool. 2 seconds, Sam. I'm on it. Screen's going to go blue. Just bear with me a moment, please. Not just a commentator, I'm doing everything. What can you do? Sam, I don't have your main account, I don't think. Great. Post PSN name in there, please, and we'll get that ASAP, so at least you have been able to make it in time. Thank you for that. So while we're trying to work out and get the lobby all up to scratch, let's just quickly run you through the standings from last week. So it was a fantastic week last week for Livid Esport. Their main team leads the way in the defence of their League 1 title on 128 points. Their newly promoted Academy team is in second place on 100 points, having done a good showing last week as well. TMC are in third on 79, just 3 points clear of TTG Esports in fourth on 76, and CPI Esports are in the relegation zone on 30 points just now. Apologies again, just going to go blue screen real quickly again to try and get this fixed. Isn't it great when everything goes brilliant? Oh, the fun. Apologies for all this, my friends. There we go. Right, that should be the last time I need to go for a blue screen. Here's hoping. So we'll be getting underway very, very shortly indeed. If you are in the chat today, obviously do keep it clean and friendly, of course. And also let us know who you are supporting here tonight. We'll just run you through some of the drivers who are racing for us tonight. So we've got Dan Morris there racing for TMC, Lewis who is racing for CPI, Jean Palian in there as well, who I also believe is CPI if I remember correctly. I hope I'm right. Casper in there for CPI as well. Then we've got Cal Spur, who is for TMC. I'm guessing he's a Spurs fan based on that, but I might be completely wrong. Hugo in there for Livid's main esports team. Then LR Spag for the Academy team. Deneen and also for the Academy team, as is Nick and Sloss. Pog for the main team, along with Francis and Calzo, two Scottish boys there. Bullet Boy is in there as well for CPI, along with Scuba MUFC. No surprises for guessing who he supports. Thank you very much for confirming, Tyler. It is CPI. I thought it was. TMC CR7. I wonder who his favourite player is. Probably not Messi. And then we've got Siege and Sinclair for TTG, with Sam just on his way at the moment. And we are missing Recom. We are hoping to get Jack in, but unfortunately he's had a few issues tonight, so TTG could be going with just the 3 drivers here this evening, and it looks like we might be getting ready to get underway because we have 19 drivers, so everybody here except for one driver for TTG, which is Jack. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. One shot qualifying, of course. It is 25% race distance here, so it's going to be quick, fast, frantic, hopefully very clean. Any drivers watching along the chat just now, please keep it all fair in love and war, as they say. And I'm going to try not to shout too much because I shouted too much last time. I don't think the neighbours were too chuffed at me, so I will do my best to keep my voice down, as well as giving you some fantastic action. I can see a few people already in the chat. TMC, you've got support in there. Speeds saying good luck to all teams as well. Should hopefully be some fantastic racing, absolutely. Plenty of good luck messages going in there as well. We do wish, obviously, the drivers to enjoy their racing tonight, as well as having a fantastic race. I might be a bit biased being a TTG driver person, of course, but I will try and be as impartial as possible. Dry race, dry qualifying, of course. There is no chance of any rain. Who are we going to jump on board with for the qualifying fast lap, the hot lap around this track? Mexican Grand Prix circuit, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, first held a Grand Prix in 1963. Circuit length of 4.3 kilometres. I believe it is also the second shortest track on the calendar, with, of course, Monaco only being the shorter track than that. We recently seen for this year as well, so you know, it's a fresh in the memories of everybody, and it's a very fast track. 2 DRS zones. The third one has not been patched in yet, I don't believe, so that is going to make things interesting. And here we go, and we get to go on board with Scuba for TMC as we come up towards the start and finish line to start the flying lap here for the Mexican Grand Prix in League 1 of the Esports Mini League, one of the longest front straights in the F1 calendar. You're looking for the braking zone around about 75 metres rough into third gear, 70 odd miles an hour. Clip the apex, bring it to the right, back to the left, and then right again, missing the curbs. Nicely done by Scuba. DRS open for the second time on this lap as we head down towards turns 4 and 5. Heavy braking again, about 75 metres, nicely into the apex, back to the left as quick as you can for this right hander, and then up towards the next turns, which is turn 6, and it's a double apex corner there as we get back on the power one more time into the SE section of turn 7. Nice and easy through there. 8 you can get on the power easy. 9 just got to be a bit careful through there. Then through 10 and 11 you can just use a bit of the inside curb there if you're careful. Up towards the stadium section now at turn 12. Hard on the brakes, clip the curb on the entry, and then slow it right down for the slowest part on the track, 45 miles an hour as we exit the stadium. Bit of a tank slapper on exit up towards turn 16. Nice and easy on the way out of there. Don't do what Valtteri Bottas does through the final corner, up to the line, and look at that. Livid racing between their two teams. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Scuba breaking the pattern there with 5th place, but what a qualifying. I'll go through that in just a moment. Here we are, so it's Hugo on pole position for Livid Racing, a 14.0, 1.5 seconds clear of Pog in second, with Calzo in third. So the main esports team are 1, 2, 3, with the academy team in fourth with LR Denin. Scuba, who we're on board with there, nice lap, 7 times down note in 5th. Siege for TTG in 6th, and Dan Morris in 7th. Sloss in 8th for the academy team. Lewis for CPI in 9th. Sinclair on 10th on medium tyres as well. Casper in 11th, the only other driver to set a time. Jumpalion, CR7, Calspar, Nick, Francis, Spag and Bullet Boy all did not set a time and get disqualified out of that session. Let's go back to chat now to see if I missed anything. Plenty probably going on. Let's have a wee check. Anything that's worthwhile mentioning. Sam not able to get along his patch giving him the grief, so TTG are only got 2 drivers, which is not good for them in their battle with TMC for third place, and any possibilities of them gaining ground on the 2 Livid teams is pretty much squashed at this point. CPI need all the points they can get. They are 46 points down on TTG in 5th place, so they need to get a good result here and in Brazil as well, or they will be relegated down to League 2 for next season. I'll try my best in between sessions to do the points. And of course it's points for every finishing position, for every driver finishing in control of their car will receive points. It's very important that everybody gets to the end of the race as we're about to get ready for the formation lap here at the Mexican Grand Prix circuit. So we have got 18 laps ahead of us, and let's have a look. Obviously the top 10 will start on the tyres they qualified, so soft tyres for the first 9, and then Sinclair, of course, on the medium tyres in 10th place. Then Casper, Jumpalion, CR7, Calspar, Nick and Francis on the medium. Spag and Bullet Boy have gone for the soft compound tyres down the field. So That's going to be an interesting one to see how they do later on. It's also a short race, and everybody will need to pit once. You can see that CPI car in the red with the yellow towards the back. We've got the Academy Livid Racing Team car there, which is the red and yellow. The main Livid car, you can see, is the red and the black, so a wee bit easier to distinguish between them. Then you can see the blue cars, easy to distinguish, which is of TMC. And if we move up there, we can see the black, grey and red of TTG. So that's how you're going to be able to definish... I can't even say words. I'm sorry, this is a great start, isn't it? I apologise. That's how you're going to be able to distinguish between the cars as much as possible. And hopefully we have the first 18 laps. Some fantastic racing ahead. Thank you to everyone on us so far. If you haven't done so already, do hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified of every time TTTV goes live. We are live tomorrow night with the Hungarian Grand Prix for TTL F1. Myself and Kieran McGinley will be back in the box, the Dream Team back at it again. TTFL will be on Friday night at 8 PM as well, and that will round out our 5 nights worth of action. We've already seen 2 nights, which was of Project Cars and TTL F2. This is night 3, and this is the third lot of races tonight as the drivers line up on the grid for the first time this evening. 18 cars take the lights for 18 laps. Autodromo Hernandez Rodriguez, who's going to come out on top for the first round here this evening. We're waiting for the lights to come on. Trying to get a better camera angle. There we go. 5 red lights, the revs are rising. Lights out and away we go for round number 3, the Esports Mini League. And what are the starts like? And the Livid boys are going to go 3 wide heading down the front straight, and it looks like Calzo's got a fantastic start heading down towards turn number 1. Pog though has managed to steal the lead away from Hugo as they go 3 wide. They don't want to take each other out there as they go into turn 1, all held nicely together. Plenty going on down the field. Try and keep up with as much as we can. You see Dan Morris coming through there in 9th position at the moment, but up towards the front it's Hugo retaking the lead back after Pog took it into turn 1. Calzo had to drop back to 3rd. Scuba's got up to 4th ahead of Deneen, who is still in 5th position there. Lewis up 3 places already in 6th place. Siege up down 1 place, he's in 7th. Sloss 8th, Dan Morris 9th. Calsper rounding out the top 10, battling on behind between Nick and Spag, the 2 Academy drivers side by side into the SE section, and it is going to be Spag who holds on to that position for the now. But brilliant start for the Livid Esports team. They are still 1, 2, 3 and have managed to avoid any contact between them down towards turn number 1 as Sloss is having a move there on Siege and got through. Siege seems to be going backwards at the moment because look at this, Dan Morris is going to go round the outside into the stadium section. A little bit of contact between them. We jump on board with the TMC driver. He's not able to get the move done as they come through 17, but much better traction on exit, and away he goes. And look at that, that's Calsper in the TMC car. He's going to get drafted by as well with his teammate helping, and CR7 in there too. So Siege is getting absolutely besieged by the TMC boys here. He's got his teammate Sinclair coming up to play rear gunner. He's going to sneak on ahead as well. Siege is really struggling in these opening stages. He's going to sneak back up the inside there, but unable to do so. Dan Morris has got through on his teammate. So there we go, and look at this. Down the field it is nose to tail, the TMC cars, TTG boys and everyone else in close proximity down towards turn number 4, and that looked like a move there for Francis as Siege goes backwards even more, and he's now got Bullet Boy going round the outside of him. He's going to stick it around the inside of Siege, trying to hold the place. He's going backwards more and more and more, and he's not able to do so. We've got a yellow flag, and it is Nick who's just spun there on the exit, having got an initial bit of contact somewhere else within the lap there. We're going to come back, see if anything else is going on there. Nothing at the moment, and look at this. Hugo's got a second over his teammate Pog. That's going to leave him a bit exposed there. Calzo has got a wee train behind him. Scuba, Deneen and Lewis all sticking in close proximity. They're just slowly dropping off the back for LR Sloss, with Dan Morris now trying to catch up and drag his teammates along with him. They round out the top 10. Lap number 3, DRS is now enabled. And it'll be interesting to see if anyone fancies a go. Won't be available down the front straight. That is Bullet Boy going side by side with Francis there, who puts up a resounding defence there, very resolute defence. And Bullet Boy tries to go around the outside. There's going to be contact there between them, and luckily it doesn't look like there's any damage by the looks of it. We'll try and see if anything picks up. Calspar has just gone by Dan Morris, but that won't be anything to worry about. That'll have been them playing it easy. Siege into pit lane along with Nick. Siege is back out already, so early position changes. You can see the biggest gainer is Calspar, up 6 places. We can see Bullet Boy up 5 places, with Spag just getting past John Pallion there into turn number 6 as we come up towards turn number 7. Biggest loser, well, it is Siege, TTG driver, down in 17th, but he has now made his pit stop and he's on the hard compound tyres, so he can go to the end of the race on them. If he can keep some temperature in him, he might still pick up some good points before the end of this one. The leaders come through to complete lap number 3 and start the 4th lap, and this is the first dose DRS down this immensely long front straight. And it'll be interesting to see if anyone can make any moves down into turn number 1. Hugo though is looking pretty out front, and it looks like Lewis is going to be the closest one fancying a goal. Looking at the back of Deneen there in the academy car, does he fancy doing anything? No, he does not. Running well for CPI at the moment is Lewis. They need all the points he can get as he picks up a time penalty though. Just as I say that, that's not what they'll be wanting at all. Casper's just made his way through and sliding his way through turn number 1. Manages to hold it off. He's got his teammate John Pallion behind. Doesn't want to take his teammate out of the race in any way, shape or form. You can see Calzo there, who won the first round at Spain 2 weeks ago for Livid Racing. It was a Livid 1-2-3, but it was the academy team in 2nd and 3rd, and that's what's really helped them sit up towards the top end of the standings. As we can see, Spag there on the screen has got past on Bullet Boy. That's coming out of turn number 6, so the academy driver making his way back through the field at the moment, and we'll keep an eye on everything as best as we can as we go through. The leaders seem pretty content to stick where they are and wait for DRS at this point in time. Those soft tyres will start going off very, very shortly indeed. Expect to see pit stops. In fact, speaking of pit stops, there we go. Scuba's decided he wants to make an early stop. He is in now, and he's been followed by Lewis as well, so 2 early stoppers there on the soft compound tyres, getting out the way and getting onto those fresher medium tyres at least there. It'll be likely, as Calzo's gone past Pog. There'll be no defence there from Pog because obviously same team they are on, and DRS made it a pretty easy move as well. Sloss picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, having done that already 5 laps into the race. We're already seeing the penalties starting to rack up. There is Siege. He is miles back, so he's not even close to Bullet Boy. He's really struggling. Don't know what's going on. We see Nick going round. I'm guessing he's had wing damage in that earlier stop. He's still drifting. Thinks he's Ken blocking a Ford Fiesta by the looks of it at the moment. TMC looking nice, but it is Livid who are on their merry way like a merry bunch of men from Robin Hood. 1-2-3 at the moment with the academy driver Deneen in 4th, and they are 2.5 seconds clear of Sloss, who's in 5th, before there's a raft of TMC drivers in behind. And remember, Calspar, the first of those, is on the medium compound tyres, so he's going to be going longer and have the soft compound at the end of this race. Any of the Livid boys deciding to pit? Yes, we have Deneen in pit lane for the academy team, as is one of the TMC drivers. It's Dan Morris, so he's into pit lane as well. Casper's picked up yet another penalty to add to his tally. You'll need to be careful, he'll end up in Narnia before long with all their aim. Sinclair for TTG trying to carry the flag for them at the moment, up in 7th position on the medium compound. He's looking at the back of CR7, the Portuguese driver, and he's just picked up a penalty as he gets a bit too liberal with the curb through turn number 2, as Francis does the same thing in behind him as well, trying to close the gap to the TTG driver. There is Casper and Jean Pallion still nose to tail for CPI, and if we have a look at those who have pitted, the first of those is obviously Scuba, who's in 12th there, so we need to keep an eye on him. His gap to the leader at the moment is 23 seconds. It's quite a shortish pit lane here. It doesn't take too long. You're roughly 18 seconds from entry to exit roughly if you get a good clean pit stop. So he came in about 5th place, so he's going to obviously drop down. We'll need to keep an eye on how that one works out for him later on into this race. Casper, he's 3rd, 3-second time penalty. Stewards will be kicking him out before long as Pog decides to come into pit lane from 3rd place in the race, and Casper's going backwards with no front wing. Just as I was trying to get there, I seen that Scuba had got by him and the CPI driver is round, and to add to his penalty misery, he's going to need to make an early pit stop to get off those medium compound tyres and change the front wing. It's going from bad to worse for CPI as Sinclair doesn't have any luck getting by down into turn number 1. Where does Pog come out? Where is Scuba? There is Scuba there, in fact. Actually, he's made up quite a bit of time. He's got the slipstream. He's got a great run here on Pog down towards turn number 1. DRS for the livid driver though, despite out of pit lane. A little bit of contact between them, nothing too much, and that's a nice move around the outside by Scuba, and he makes his way up into what is 9th place. Pog is going to try and retaliate. Sinclair has got past his side by side, as you can see on the TMC driver there of CR7, as I try and get back to see if Pogs manages anything. He hasn't at the moment, so we'll come back to there, and CR7 has managed to get back ahead of the TTG driver, so fantastic scrapping between these two. We'll give them a wee follow for now, a little bit of screen time for these guys, and see if anything changes between them, and I'll see if I need to jump through the field. You can see Pog, the gap between him and Scuba closing through that SE section off screen, so we'll see where that is. The two leaders, Hugo and Calzo, into pit lanes. That's going to put Calspar into the lead of the race on his medium compound tyres, and we're going to skip through here into the stadium section, and Scuba is held on for the meantime. So to Sinclair with DRS, can he get the move done? Here he comes, nice and easy, upwards of 210 miles an hour. You can see with the speed just bleeds off as you come out of the slipstream because of the high altitude here in Mexico City, and he is through. And look at that, Hugo and Calzo have came out ahead of Scuba, so the undercuts work to some extent, because Scuba is now technically in 3rd place in the race. He's gone deep on the brakes, so we Pog up the inside. They're going side by side through 2 and 3. Can he get it done? Yes, Pog's got it done. He's going to push a bit wide here through the corner. Deneen's going to try and pick up and see if he can make a place, and Scuba's going to drop down unless he can make a late braking move on the car ahead, which is of Deneen. Ignore those soft compound tyres on the Academy car. He is on the mediums and he's got the move done. So Scuba has lost 2 places in that battle there. He's lost out to Pog, he's lost out to Deneen, and he is down to 10th position. But of course these guys are top 5 are still to pit, so this is over what is technically 3rd, 4th and 5th place between these guys. Lewis trying to catch up there for CPI, he's in 11th. But we'll run you through the field as we approach halfway distance. There is your race leader, and it is Calspar for TMC, not pitted yet, 4.3 seconds clear of Sinclair in 2nd, who has got the better of TMC. CR7 in 3rd, who seems to have got a very poor exit, because here comes Francis now for Livid, catching up to the back of the TMC driver, but not close enough into turn 1. He's in 4th at the moment, again still to pit, as is John Pallian, who is in 6th position. You can see Hugo, the net leader of the race, 13 seconds down at the moment on the leader, but he has already made his pit stop, so he does not need to pit again. He's in 6th, Calzo 7th, Pog in 8th, Deneen in 9th, Scuba round out the top 10, Lewis 11th, Sloss in 12th, Dan Morris 13th, Bullet Boy 14th, Spag in 15th, Siege down in 16th, Casper 17th, and Nick is ghosting, so he's no longer in control of that car. But it looks like, oh no, it's ghosting because he's getting lapped because of that stupidness of that new patch. Why do that? And Casper's retired from the session. So what has happened to the CPI driver? Let's just see if we can pick him up anywhere. Hugo picking up a penalty there as he's coming into the stadium section. So Casper out of the race, and there he is. He spun it in lane. What a bizarre place to lose it. Side on in pit lane. There he is, and he's disappeared now just as Sinclair comes into pit lane from 2nd in the race. So Casper out of the race. CPI not going to score points for his car, not what they need in their battle to fight off relegation. position, but halfway distance has now passed, and it's Calspor still leading. It's TMC 1-2, Francis in third, Jumpalian's about to be bested now by Hugo in fourth, and of course Hugo, who's the pole sitter, has made his pit stop. Jumpalian's going to try around the outside but not able to do so. He's just not got the grip on those older tyres, and Hugo makes his way up into what is fourth position. You can see Dan Morris there getting ahead of Sinclair just as he came back out, but Sinclair's now on the soft compound tyres, so he's going to have the grippiest compound available for the rest of this race, as long as he doesn't burn them out too much. That's what last thing he wants to do. Paul picked up a penalty and we'll need to keep an eye on him. Sinclair round the outside on Dan Morris. Can he get it moved on? No, the TMC driver takes the inside, cuts the apex away from him, but fairly done, and it is as you were at the moment between those guys, but this fight's going to carry on a bit longer. These two are easily the closest on track at the moment. Everyone else is at least half a second or more between them just now, and at the moment it's looking good for Livid as Calspor pits from the lead of the race. So TMC driver into pit lane, Francis pits as well, so that leaves only CR7, who now leads as the only driver who has not pitted in the race so far, and we are following through as Sinclair looks so much quicker all over the rear gearbox of that TMC car of Dan Morris. This is what is 12th place at the moment, but they've got a few drivers in pit lane. Jumpalian's pitted as well, and here comes Sinclair, and you can see easily building up. Car coming out, goodness me, car coming out of pit lane there. That was Francis. Sinclair had to split the two and thread the needle, and he's made the move stick, and he is up into what is now 10th position. Lewis picking up another penalty. There is your race leader at the moment, as Calspor has just gone past on Sloss. There we are, getting a better camera angle now. He's gone in the corner, but Sloss having lost the place to Calspor, who's on those fresh soft tyres. He's just pitted as well. CR7 with a little bit of a bump there from CR7 onto Lewis, but they're now side by side up towards number 7 round the outside. That's not easy to do. That is a lovely little move there from the TMC driver, and he is through now into 7th position. So as the pit stops are filtering out, we're just waiting here for CR7 to pit, and there he goes. So we will run you through the order once he came out of pit lane and settled into the traffic, but that is going to put Hugo into the lead of the race for Livid Racing. There he goes. The pole sitter is on first position, and he also fastest lap of the race as well, so he is on for the Grand Slam at the moment. Looking good for him indeed. There's Calspor in 7th, so it's Hugo in first position, Calzo in 2nd, we've got Pog in 3rd, then you can see Deneen for the Academy Livid team in 4th, Scuba in 5th, Calspor is in 6th place on the soft compound tyres, so he's going to be one to watch towards the end of his race. Lewis in 7th, Sloss in 8th, Sinclair in 9th, Francis in 10th position. CR7s came out in 11th place, just ahead in the battle, and Dan Morris, Bullet Boy in 13th. You can see Spag in behind there for Livid Academy, he's in 14th, there he is. Jumpalian in 15th for CPI, along with Siege in 16th, and Nick for Livid Academy is in 17th, hadn't had an issue on the early point of the race where he dropped down the field and had to make an early pit stop. Siege made an early pit stop as well, something going wrong for him tonight. Closest battle at the moment is Lewis, Sloss, Sinclair, all within tenths of each other, and Sloss is going to stick it down the inside, and that's a spin, and Sinclair is going to have wing damage off of that surely, and that was, well, that was a bit clumsy all round in my opinion. Oh goodness me, all going on there. It was Dan Morris, I believe. They're just side by side, Sloss up the inside. It's not normally an overtaking place into the stadium section, and unfortunately the car on the inside done a Sebastian Vettel and done a nice wee pirouette to Sinclair. Obviously not got any damage from that, or at least not enough to pit anyway, and he goes drafting his way past into turn 1, and look at this Bullet Boy round the outside on Dan Morris, comes across, gives him a bit of a chop there and says that's my racing line, and he's gone through as well. So Dan loses 2 places there, all all because of what was going on earlier in the lap, and he is now down to 12th. And you can see Sir Francis at the end there, just getting by on Lewis. He's trying to cut across him, take the racing line. Look out though, because you've got CR7 on the soft compound tires round the outside. We have a very nice move indeed, and he's moved himself up into 8th position. These guys, Calspar, Francis and CR7, need to watch these guys because they are on the soft compound tyre, and they're going to make big changes as we get towards the end of this race. Whew, not at a moment to take my breath, but I'm going to try now. So, lap 13 of 18. In fact, the leaders just started lap 14, so 5 to go, including the one they're on just now. Hugo leads from Calzo second, Pog in third. It's Livid Esport 1, 2, 3. Deneen in fourth for the Academy team. Then it's Calspar, who's just gone past on the soft compound tyres on his TMC teammate Scuba, so that's 5th and 6th. Oh, look at talk to TMC, there goes CR. Up the inside on Francis. He takes over 7th place, with Francis now down to 8th for Livid Esport. Lewis in 9th for CPI, their highest running driver, with Sinclair, one of only 2 TTG drivers at the moment, in 10th. Bullet Boy for CPI in 11th. Dan Morris in 12th, trying to see if he can make one of those places back at least over those. Back to 13th, John Pally in 14th, Sloss 15th, Siege 16th, and Nick is a lap down in 17th position. We're going to go back to Cal. He is on an absolute charge at the moment with those fresh soft compound tyres, and he's easily pulled away from Deneen after making that move, and he's now on Scuba, and he's now on to the back of Deneen as he comes through the stadium section. Will jump on board with his TMC driver. He can see a podium up ahead. He fancies his chances here with it. Oh, there's a bump into the final corner. That was Kvyat Hulkenberg-esque. It might be something to look at later. No damage by the looks of it. That was a little NASCAR bump and shove. At least he didn't dump him, and Calspar gets the move done, and he's through. He's got DRS to help him as well, just to rub salt into the wounds there for Deneen. Does he fancy a late lunge up the inside into turn number 1? Thinks better off it. He knows there's a long game in this. Sinclair though side by side just now with Lewis down the front straight, just over the 206 miles an hour part, not quite through as they go into the corner, but he sweeps around the outside, and Lewis has to concede 9th place now for Sinclair as he moves up into the lower regions of the top 10. Right, Lewis is having a go back at him, despite the fact that the TTG driver has got DRS down into turn number 4, still side by side as we come through into turn number 5. A little bit of a bump there between them, no damage thankfully, and it is going to still be Sinclair holding on to 9th position. The attack unable to be workable there. Look at this from Calspar though. 4th place needs back a Pog. 8 laps the medium tyres have been on the Livid car ahead, and Calspar 4 laps on those soft compound tyres is just flying along at the moment. He is dragging Deneen along. 3 laps to go as we cross the line now, and look at this, it's got plenty of battery left. Pog doesn't, he's pulling to the left hand side, right hand side sorry, trying to break the slipstream, but here we go, DRS up to 210. Just watch the speedo bleed off though, with the dense, the altitude here just not helping at all, and he is through and up into 3rd position with a pretty easy move at the end of the day. Whew, plenty there. Pog trying to get the retaliation. Look at that, Calspar up 11 places. It's been a fantastic race from the TMC driver, and I don't think he's done yet. He could catch Calzo. The lead's a bit too far up the road, I think. Calzo is possible, I think. Might have TMC in second before the end. This lovely overhead helicopter shot here as we come through the sweeping S section. We're going to jump back down because Lewis isn't too far off the back of He's fancy trying to get that position back before the end of this race. We've finally got a bit of a cam coming along here. And now I've got to consider getting ready to do the points at some point before the end of this, and oh my goodness me, the idea of that is just absolutely frightening. So we shall see here as we go on to lap 17, the penultimate lap of the Mexican Grand Prix here at the Autodromo Hernandez Rodriguez. Sinclair picking up a penalty there, but it's Hugo who leads the way. He is still up there. Pole position leading the race. He's not got the fastest lap now though. CR7 has stolen that for TMC. That'll give them, I do believe, the additional point for that. But he's leading the way, 25 points for that, 22 points for Calzo if he finishes there in second. Calsper in third, he'll pick up 20 at the moment, with Pog getting 18 for fourth. Deneen will pick up 16 for fifth. Scuba will pick up 15 for sixth place. We've got Sam Gamer official joining, so that is TTG at least having 3 drivers for the last race. Thank goodness for that. CR7 is in 7th place at the moment, along with Francis in 8th, Sinclair in 9th, Lewis still all over the back of him in 10th position, with Bullet Boy in 11th for CPI, Dan Morris in 12th, not being able to get back through on him, Spag 13th, John Polly in 14th, Sloss, Siege and Nick round out the field as your race leader starts the final lap of the race. So final lap of the race, closest battle on track just now is Lewis on Sinclair. If you can hear chuckling in the something on our switch, but that's a different matter. We'll come back to that, she'll be fine. Last lap, and here goes Lewis. This is probably his best chance to steal back that 9th position from Sinclair. He goes to the outside. Can he sweep around the outside on Sinclair? Can he hold? Turns 2 and 3. Yes, he does. Nicely done. Despite being on 13 lap old mediums, he still had the grip there to make that move done, but Sinclair's coming back, fresher soft compound tyres, but he's on the outside for turn number 4. They're going to go side by side into turn 5, and it's Lewis who holds on, and he's still got the position, so he's made that stick on those older tyres. And look at this, Bullet Boy and Dan Morris are getting involved in this one as well. But coming into the stadium section for the final time on the final lap of race number 3 and the first race this evening, the smoke screen, the Mexican flags are going off in the background. Hugo comes through the final corner, and it is going to be another victory for Livid. It is 3 wins from 3 for Livid Esports. They take the win with Hugo. Calzo second. In fact, sorry, it's going to be Calsper in second with Calzo in third due to penalties. Scuba takes 4th. Pog down to 5th. CR7 6th. Deneen in 7th after penalties. Francis crosses the line in 8th. Lewis was 9th, but Sinclair will get it on penalties with Lewis in 10th. Bullet Boy up to 11th. Lewis in 11th, Bullet Boy in 12th, Dan Morris 13th, Spag 14th, Floss, Siege and Nick will round out the field. And this is where I've got to start writing down figures here. Ooh, this is going to be... So if it goes quiet, do apologise. I've got work though, that's the only problem with doing this. I'll do my best. You can see there Nick, he's going to be the last one to cross the line. It's actually going to give me a few minutes down everything that I need to do. And I'm going to give you some music very shortly, some royalty free, so we don't get scrubbed in just a moment's time once Nick has crossed the line. I've ran you through the final order one more time. And there's Nick through the stadium section, and it's going to be, he's at least finished the race in 17th, so that's going to give him points, and that's definitely something that is worthwhile for the MCPI, needing all the points they can do for sure. But at the end of race number 1, it is Livid in control one more time, and it is Hugo who takes the victory. On the top step of the podium goes the Frenchman. Second place going to Calsper with a fantastic drive from down the grid in the TMC car, and Calzo taking third for Livid Racing is going to give them some fantastic points to carry on into race number 4. Let's run you through the standings just now real quickly. As soon as they come up on the screen rather than the black, there we go. So it's Hugo first, Calsper second, Calzo third, Scuba in 4th, Pog takes 5th at CR7. In 6th place, Deneen takes 7th, Francis takes 8th place for Livid, Jean-Palien, the first of the CPI boys, he takes 9th place in the race. Sinclair taking 10th for TTG, with Lewis in 11th place, Bullet Boy for CPI in 12th, Dan Morris for TMC in 13th, Spag takes 14th for Livid's Academy team, Siege in 15th for G, Floss in 16th for Livid's Academy team again, as is Nick in 17th, and 18th was Casper, but he was a DNF, so he will score nil points for that one. Whew, that was fun. So, I'm going to go quiet for a wee moment and hope these guys don't start the race too quickly and give me a couple of minutes. Let me put some music on while I do some feverish maths in the background to try and give you the points at the halfway stage for tonight. And I'm back with you. Hope you enjoyed that little bit of interlude there. Yes, elevator music. It's better than nothing, and at least we won't get struck with a copyright. It is now time for Brazil, but your points if I have done the math correctly. So it's unofficial until we put it up later on. Livid, I believe, are now on 202 points. Clear leaders. It's TMC now up in second place. They're on 142. We have a fantastic showing there in race 3 at Mexico. Livid Academy in third on 130. TTG on 93 in fourth, and CPI still in fifth, but they are now on 61 points and within striking distance of TTG as we head to the Brazilian Grand Prix at the Interlagos circuit, the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. First race in 1973 was so hot they had to douse the spectators with water cannons from the fire trucks, won by their home hero Emerson Fittipaldi. We ride on board with Deneen for Livid Academy down towards turn 1 into the Senate Ice, down to third gear, 70 miles an hour, keep it, hug to the apex, through turn 2, now through the Curva do Sol, turn 3, it's completely flat out, you want to just keep it as the line of least resistance up towards the DRS, now towards turn number 4, the Decido del Lago, the lake descent, turn 4, 100 miles an hour, fourth gear, through the curve of turn 5, as we head up the hill now towards Ferradura at turn 6 and 7, chuck it in fifth gear, about 130, flat out through the second part, and into turn number 8, very slow corners, we take it nice and easy round the Pine Tree corner, which name in Portuguese I can never pronounce anymore, up towards turn number 10, the Bico de Pato, the Duckbill corner, easy through there, it's cambered on the inside, down through Megulo, the lake descent, and up towards Juncao, which is the last corner as you take one of the longest runs in F1 at full throttle, up the hill through what is the curves to turn 13, 14 and then 15. DRS wide open one more time. Hug the left hand side here in qualifying, up towards the line. Scuba for TMC takes pole position, and it is a 5th place for Deneen, who we were on board with there, but TMC trying their absolute best to keep that 2nd place. They've just possibly taken over if I've done the maths right. And Calspar on pole position. Darkbolt saying Calspar for pole is what he was saying. Well, you were absolutely spot on there. Nearly spot on. Sorry, I forgot it was Scuba in first, but you were nearly there. It's TMC 1-2, Scuba and Calspar on a 1 minute 8.102. Pog in 3rd, Calzo 4th, and Deneen, who we were on board with for the Livid Academy, in 5th, exactly the same time as Hugo. Look at that, absolutely identical. 5th and 6th place. Spag in 7th with Sinclair in 8th, Nick 9th, Francis in 10th, Bullet Boy 11th, CR7 in 12th, Lewis 13th for CPI Siege in 14th, Jumpalion down in 15th, Sloss 16th, Casper 17th, Dan Morris in DSQ'd along with Sam, who's mentioning that his wheel is not working. Sam, that is not what I want to be hearing. Goodness me. Hopefully you got it working before we get to the start of the race. That's all I can ask for. Oh, Interlagos, the final round of League One for the latest instalment of the Esports Mini League. Livid Esports looking pretty to make it 2 in a row here. They lead quite handsomely by about 72 points over their own teammates. But in fact, it's a 60-point gap between them and TMC. So as long as they just keep us a couple of drivers ahead, it should be pretty easy to find out who has won. As we wait for them all to line up in the grid for the formation lap here at Interlagos for the final time tonight, we are getting ready to go racing. Let us have a look at the tyres. Soft compound tyres for with top 10 obviously due to qualifying. 11th, 12th and 13th, Bill Boy, CR7 and Lewis also going for the soft compound tyres. Then everyone else, Siege, Jumpalion, Sloss, Casper, Dan Morris and Sam are on the medium compound tyres. It looks like Sam has managed to get his wheel working in some way, because it's at least turning, so hopefully it stays like that for the 18 laps that we have here tonight. This man though, so far in my opinion, this man, Calspar, has been the driver of the night. 15 the written a possible race victory. Many people saying this should be interesting. A lot of you's thinking the pad might be the one to be on here rather than the wheel. Obviously that just throws the other dynamic into things as well. Those who use the wheel to those who do use the pad. There obviously the constant talk of which tracks are a bit more pad OP compared to wheel OP. A few of you saying this one is pad heaven. Well, I can say one thing for definite. This is one of my most enjoyable tracks, I think. I really like the flow of this track, and for commentating on, I have commentated on some fantastic races around Interlagos, and I'm hoping the 18 lap blast will be more of the same. It is round 4 of the Esports Mini League 1. We are at Interlagos, and this is the final piece of action for tonight's proceedings. League 3's finished, League 2's finished. We'll give you the results. Follow Esports Mini on Twitter for all the result details once we have all the finalisations done. I'll try and give you a rough idea at the end, but of course anything I tell you is officially unofficial, to steal the line from Kieran McGinley. Waiting for the 5 red lights to come on. Revs are coming up, 5 red lights. Round number 4 is underway. What do the starts look like? Looks like Scuba has got a decent start. Calspar's doing not too bad. Plenty of action side by side through the back, and there's plenty going on down the field, and there's cars off. That is a car with front wing damage, and that is one of the CPI cars. I believe it is Bullet Boy who's got minus a bit of front wing. We'll try and see if it can pick him up. Yes, it is indeed. As they come down to the Decido del Lago for the first time, it's Calspar who's now taking the lead from Scuba in second. Calzo third. Look at them stream through turn 4 and 5. 5. That is CR7 in 12th position, coming up towards Ferragio. Huge crash in the background. That's Casper out of the race. Huge crash. I'm not quite sure quite what happened there, but it's caught his teammate up in it amongst it as well. As you can see, Jump Alley and Bullet Boy trying to go around Sam. Lewis has just got past on Nick. We've got yellow flags in Sector 2. There's plenty going on. Casper obviously left the session with that minus the front wing, as that's Bullet Boy going up the inside of Sam into the duckbill corner, turn number 10. And wow, contact in action on lap number 1, but Calsper's off skis 7 times clear already. No DRS yet. We get yellow flag in Sector 3, and that's Bullet Boy, who's, well, if he was any further off the track he'd be in Rio de Janeiro by now at this rate, but that's something different to talk about. We'll come back to that when he's not having the greatest first lap. Up towards turn number 1, there's plenty going on. Look at this side by side. That is Hugo and Deneen. It's Academy versus main team, and it's going to be the main driver that comes ahead of the Academy. Hugo holding on and taking 5th position from Deneen. Lewis in there for CPI in 6th. We've got action behind that. Sinclair trying to go through in the background as we try and pick it up. No, that's CR7 sideways. He's collected 2 other cars. Sinclair's caught in it, but they're stuck together like magnets. And who was the other one caught up in that? Sinclair's still backwards. Bullet Boy, it was Sloss, I think, yes. So CPI, TMC and TTG all affected in that. You can see TMC's CR7 minus the front wing. Sinclair's got the car pointing in the right direction now. How is the car for Sloss? He's missing front wing as well. Sinclair's bound to have some damage, you'd imagine, and yet there is some on the inside, so they're going to be pitting relatively early, you'd imagine. Scuba's going to get absolutely mauled very shortly if he's not careful, because here come the livid boys. Calzo, Pog, Hugo are all lining him up, and he's getting a bit detached from his teammate Calspar up ahead, who sets the fastest lap of the race. Hugo looking to the inside, thinks better off it. Scuba covers him off, and they stay as, oh, he's got it wrong. Calzo's got it completely wrong, coming out of the Senna S at turn 1 sideways across the track. He's going to lose a ton of positions there as he pulls off to the side to avoid any more. Good awareness there from him, but he's dropped from 2nd down to 14th because of one mistake. That's let Scuba off the leash a little bit there, because he was getting attacked very much, and it's going to give him a little tad of breathing room just now. Sinclair has retired from the session, so where is that, I wonder? It's a yellow flag in Sector 1. We'll quickly ride on board with Bullet Boy, see if we can figure out, is he in pit lane or is it off track? It looks like it's in pit lane possibly. I can't see a car on track, so that's not good for TTG in their fight with CPI, because they're now down to 2 cars again. Nightmare for them. Nick's just gone up the inside. Spag's going backwards. I think he's maybe got a bit of a bad exit. There's no wing damage, so he's just lost places to Nick and Francis there. But it's obviously livid fighting amongst themselves at the moment. Look at this. 1.1 seconds clear as we go on to lap number 4 for Calspar. It's looking nice at the moment. Scuba in 2nd. He's got Pog in behind him in 3rd. Hugo in 4th. Look at that Deneen. Lovely rear view shot we just caught there as the Academy driver tried to get by, but it's compromised his exit. Lewis now is coming up right behind him, going to fancy his chances under DRS down towards turn number 4. Can the CPI driver get the move done on the inside? Yes, he can. It's going to be held on round the outside by Deneen. There's a little bit of runoff that you can get away with, but Lewis has got the move done, and he is now up into 5th position. Nicely done there from the CPI driver. That puts Nick down to Deneen down to 6th. Nick in 7th, you've got Francis 8th, Spag in 9th, and Sam for TTG in 10th, with Siege in 11th. The only 2 TTG drivers still remaining in the field, and they are running in 10th and 11th at the moment. Dan Morrison 12th, Jean-Palien in 13th, with Calzo down in 14th after that mistake 2 laps ago into turn number 1, spinning the car. Bullet Boy's already pitted, he's in 15th after being off the track in the first lap. CR7 as well down in 16th, he's pitted along with Sloss. CR7, Sloss and caught out coming through turn number 4, and they were just all stuck together, and Lewis into pit lane. The first pit stops are now happening. Lap number 5, we're on to into lap 4. Lewis and Francis are the first 2 into pit lane. We need to jump though to Pog, who's right behind Hugo. Got behind him, and he's right behind Scuba, diving up the inside into the Decido del Lago, but no, he doesn't get the move done. Manages to pull out before any contact was made between any of them, and they carry on and live another day up towards Ferradura, up and over the rise of the hill. Fantastic sequence of corners there, and then slowing right down into this tricky infield section. This track undulating, it's cambered. You don't realise just how much this track goes up and down until you really have a look at it, and you can see cambered there into the turn. They come down the dive in Magulo and towards Zhao. I used to remember all the names of these corners, but I can't nowadays without a piece of paper. Siege sticking to the back of Sam. TTG boys are on medium tyres, trying to go as long as he can, so they're the highest running medium runners in the race, along with Dan and Jean-Pali and Calzo in fourth. You can see Scuba and Hugo have pitted, so that leaves Calsper still out. Pog in second, Nick up to third with Deneen fourth and Spag fifth, so Scuba first TNC boy to come into pit lane, followed in as well by Hugo, who's going to be out behind him. You can see Jean-Palian into pit lane as well. That's a medium tyre for Jean-Palian, and he's into pit lane. So has he got damage? No, he doesn't. It's a change to softs. That's a long way to take a set of soft compound tyres. 12 laps he's going to have to make them last. That would be a heck of an effort from the Finnish driver if he manages that one. We'll need to keep an eye on that, because if it works it would be an inspired move, but that's a long way to take a set of soft compounds for the rest of this race. You see Dan there trying to keep onto the back of Sam. You got Siege up there as well. Ooh, Dan was getting a tighter line than Sam could through the left-hander there. And Hugo down to us, so we just have a wee check there on the... we'll wait until the pit stop's done before we look at that. Sam getting a penalty there, so the first one who's made a pit stop on track is Scuba, coming down Magulo. Fantastic overhead helicopter shot there as he heads up towards Juncal. Deneen into pit lane, so he's now the latest driver to pit. Calsper carries on for another lap at least. And Scuba, how far is he off the lead? About 20 seconds. That's probably enough to retake the lead off the race. Once the pit stop phase has worked its way out, you can see Sam still on the back there. In fact, Siege has got past his own teammate, so that might just help Siege there. He's still got Dan and Calzo coming back through. He's trying to run long now on the soft compound tyres. Oh, no way through there for the livid driver. He has to pull back in and think better of it. He was going to lose a front wing. Does he fancy a dive up the inside? Thinks about it, but thinks better off it into turn number 8 through turn 9. And then up towards turn 10, you can see Sam's got a better run there on Siege, and Siege doesn't fight him off, tries to block off Dan, who's side by side down through Magulo. This is going to be interesting, and Dan, has he got that move done? Yes, he has. Down the hill, through the dive of Magulo, and he's got the move done. So Siege had to make the space there for his own teammate Sam. It's actually cost him 2 places as he drops down behind Dan Morris, and he comes... No, he's not coming for pit lane because he's obviously on medium compound tyres. Calzo does come into pits, as has the race leader Spag, the only one staying out on the soft compound tyres. So where does Calsper fit into all of this once we get back out on track? There he is, leaving pit lane. Where is Pog? He's behind him, so it's Scuba we want to watch, his own teammate. And is he going to jump Calsper coming out of pit lane? No, Calsper's ahead, but you can see he's got ahead of Pog, so he's managed to hold it, so it's still technically a TMC 1-2 at the front of the field just now. Calzo dropping to 13th for his pit stop, but it's Spag out in the lead, Sam in second, Dan Morris third, Siege in fourth. Those four, the only drivers that have not pitted in this race yet. Calsper, who there he is, second in race number 1, pole position nearly for this one. It's ended up in second behind Scuba, but he's now in the theoretical lead off the race in 5th at the moment. Scuba in 6th, Pog in 7th, Hugo in 8th, then there's Lewis for CPI in 9th, Deneen in 10th, Nick in 11th, Jean-Pali in for CPI in 12th, and well, a wee bit lonely at the moment because he's got a couple of seconds either side. Calzo in 13th will give him company very shortly, you'd imagine, with the speed he's showing. Francis in 14th, Bullet Boy in 15th, CR7 and Sloth struggling after an earlier incident, and Sam into pit lane picks up a 5-second penalty, which will be added at the end of the race because it is a not taken in the pit stop as Hugo goes up the inside of Pog. Nice little move there, obviously wouldn't be battling too hard, they are teammates, and we're now at the halfway distance mark. We're only waiting on 3 drivers to make a pit stop, so if we have a look here, Sam has made up a few positions. He's a 7 places if we ignore the top 3, and we'll see how that all pans out once the top three who are still at pit make their pit stops very shortly indeed. 2 seconds, I am dying of a dry throat. Nothing like a bit of iron brew to keep you going there. So, calming down maybe? Or just about to get a bit spicy. Interesting to see how this finishes. We're now at the halfway mark, 9 down, 9 to go here at Interlagos. And it is looking good as Spag into pit lane on those soft compound tyres, and he picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in pit lane, so that's not going to be any good at all for the Academy driver. It puts Dan Morris into the lead of the race because Siege has decided he's had enough. He's medium compound tyres and he's deciding to come into the pits now. So Dan leads, the only driver still to pit in this race. You can see that's the CPI car of Sloss, who is running around in 17. He's a lap down, and obviously it ghosts out back markers now, which I get it to some extent, but it's just the point of driving is you're able to pass the back markers. It's an art form in itself, so I wish there was a way you could turn it on or off, to be perfectly honest. Codemasters, if you're listening, make it happen, along with a safety car fix. Anyway, we'll leave that there. There you go, we've got Calzo now on the back of Sam, who's just came into pits not too long ago for a fresh set of tyres. He's in the soft compound. Calzo in the medium, only pitted 2 laps previous, was up towards the front. Sam with a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings to add to the 5 seconds he got for his pit lane penalty, and another 3 seconds from earlier on in the race. So he's going to end up in Rio himself at this rate with the amount of penalties he's got, unfortunately. Deneen looking at the back of Lewis as we come up the hill. Look at this, the Livid Academy driver very quick onto the back of the CPI driver. Just give me a second. That wasn't meant to happen. But he's not able to do anything as we come up towards turn number 1. Dan's into pit lane, so that puts us back to where we were. All the pit stops have now filtered their way through, and let's have a wee look here and see. In fact, let's wait now, because Deneen with DRS trying to get on Lewis and not able to do so. Still as you were there, trying to make that position change but not happening, and Lewis holding on. CPI need the points as badly as they can do for this one. Deneen trying to take as many away, because obviously the Academy team are in a fight for second with the TMC boys, but TMC are up the front at the moment. It's Calsport 2 seconds clear of Scuba in second. He's got just over a second to Hugo in third. That is the ghost car of Sloss, who's been blapped in 17th. There's Pog in fourth. Lewis holding on in fifth. He's up 8 places from the start of this race. Fantastic stuff from the CPI driver. Deneen in 6th position, Nick in 7th, Spag in 8th, Jean-Palian in 9th, up 6 places, along with Sam up 9 places in 10th, having started from the back of the grid. Calzo down 7 after spinning on lap number 2, I think it was, in turn number 1. He's in 11th, 7 places down from his start position. Siege is in 12, up 2 places. Dan's up 5 in 13th, Francis in 14th, Bullet Boy 15th, CR7 in 16th. They're all down 4 places. Sloss being lapped is 17th, and as mentioned before, Bullet Boy had a broken front wing on the lap number 1, and a couple of laps into the race, CR7, Sloss and Sinclair, who is DNF'd, had a coming together coming out of turn number 4, where the cars just stuck together, and ended up with Sinclair deciding to retire from the race. Casper also out of the race, massive crash in lap number 1, ripped the wheel off the front of the car, and that was one CPR driver out of the race. Back towards the front end, we're going to watch this battle for a moment between Pog, Lewis, Deneen and Nick. So it's Livid Esports, CPI, Livid Academy. So Lewis, a bit of the meat in a livid sandwich right now. He might be a bit livid about it, who knows. He needs to concentrate. Sam's picking up more penalties. He's going to be in Buenos Aires, never mind Rio de Janeiro, with the amount of penalties he's picking up. Here goes Lewis to the outside now. Much easier on DRS here than it was in Mexico, because there's no altitude to contend with, and Lewis moves up in a 4th position. He's now 9 places gained from his start position. Fantastic stuff there as he moves through. Pog's now going to have the DRS to try and attack down the back straight towards turn number 4, the Decido del Lago, the lake descent corner. Does he fancy a late dive up the inside? He's going for it. Lewis gives him space. He's going to try and get the traction down round the outside, holding on nicely through turn 5 up towards Ferradura. The contact of Pog's on the grass. He's held it well, and thankfully no one else has careered into the back of him. that was just a little bit too close for comfort there between the two of them, and you can see their Pog's actually backed out there by the looks of it, and allowed Nick and Deneen through. You're wondering, maybe has he picked up some damage from that? For me, with the onboard, it's hard, it's a little bit close, but yeah, that's a tricky one, that one. You could say he came across, but then again, he was just taking the racing line, was Lewis, and Pog thought he maybe had the place, wasn't far enough alongside, so yeah, a bit of a racing incident there, but not good for Pogs. Dropped him down to 7th. Probably won't do too much in the grand scheme of things for Livid Esports in the end of the day. We're on lap 14.18, so we've got 5 laps to go, including the one they're just on or about to start, as it is the case here for Calzo, still chasing down Sam as Sloss comes into pit lane for the Academy team, and Calzo going round the outside of the TTG driver. A little bit of contact, he tries to take the, cuts the corner through 2. Sam take evasive action through 3. Look at Siege now in the background. The TTG boys are going to team up on Calzo, and Sam comes across to the inside to hold position. Calzo now on the outside for turn number 4. Can he get the move done? Medium compound on his car, softs on the TTG car, and he's pushed a little bit wide there, catching the grass. That's going to allow Siege through as he come up towards Ferradura. Can he hold the position up the inside? Siege can try and go around the outside in the softer compound. He's got the space to do so, but into turn number 8, and it's Calzo who holds on. Does Siege fancy a move up the inside into 9? No, he does not, and he holds on to the position, so it's as you were, despite all of that action going on just in that moment there, and Sam holding on to that. Calzo nearly made a great move around the outside, tried to do the Max Verstappen on Esteban Ocon from 2018 when he was lapping him up the inside, and it nearly caused a big collision between the two of them. Thankfully no damage to either car. They carry on and they will live to fight another day. Calspar's looking good out front. I'm going to follow this, see if Calzo fancies his chances round the outside. Take 2, round 2, here we go again. He's going to try and undercut this time, back to the inside. He's going to try and get a better run through turn 2. He's now got the inside for turn 3, spun round there. There was just the tiniest bit of contact between the two of them through turn 2 and 3, and not the greatest camera angle, but it was really, really close. Calzo done the undercut there. He cut back through turn 1, gave him the outside for 2, and then had the inside for 3. He just not able to keep the car on the track. A little bit of contact made between the two of them. That drops him down the field, but he'll come back, I'm sure, before the end of this race. Meanwhile, Hugo is all over the back of Scuba here as we come up towards the last couple of laps up through Juncal. Now the long drag up the hill towards the start and finish straight. Francis is in session. Now Francis, where is he at the moment? If he's not back in control of that car, he'll be in F, so they get back with this one as we sneak up the inside. Number 1, hold it round the outside. There's contact. Also with no dice this time, they hold on. It's cost Lewis a bit of time. Francis back into the session for him, and we can see up the inside, yes, there he goes, Deneen up the inside, but Lewis is going to get better exit because Deneen's braked so late coming into turn number 4, and he's regained the position. Lovely racing there between those two. Well spotted from Lewis, noticing that the Academy driver was coming through, switched back and got the traction down, and up the inside Hugo there, still behind Scuba, and we're just trying to follow these ones because these 3 are on their own now. Nick, Lewis and Deneen, and you can see their Spag just trying to close up there, so too many livid cars. I'm sure everybody wants to get out of a livid sandwich. CPI driver Lewis has been stuck in that sandwich for the majority of this race. He's probably sick of the backside of that red and yellow car at the moment of Nick up ahead. Here we go, on to lap 17, the penultimate lap of the race. Hugo is right behind though, round the outside. We get a yellow flag in sector 1, but we need to follow this battle quickly. Nothing going on there. Up the inside though goes Nick and Lewis. Lewis now on the outside. They're side by side through the curve of the Sol. Look out for Deneen though, coming through. Lewis is going to lose out massively there. Meanwhile, up at the Decido del Lago, outside goes Hugo. Scuba up the inside, bumping at the wheels. We come back. Deneen round the outside. Can he get his teammate as well? Yes, he can. Contact between them. Lewis has pushed him round. No damage, no wall hits. They've lost a couple of places. A push there from Lewis. That's going to cost points indeed. It could have been much, much better there indeed. And the Scuba held on, so Hugo still in third. Nick fourth. Spag moves up to fifth with that. Pog says thank you very much. Love sixth. Deneen seventh, having been sideways across the track. Jean Pally in eighth. Lewis down to ninth there. It was good, hard, clean race, and just unfortunately they just got a bit too close to each other there. Just put the car around in a bit of a spin, but thankfully none of them reached the wall. They were able to carry on, albeit with a couple of places lost. Here goes the man though that we've not seen very often in this race. We've seen plenty of him in Mexico. He had a storming run through the field, but Calspur for TMC is on his way. But look at this Scuba. I tell you what, actually, these guys have closed up massively in the last lap. Scuba has dragged Hugo along with him, so we're going to actually have a bit of a freeway scrap here maybe. You can see the fuel lights flashing on Calspur's car as it is on Scuba's and Hugo's, so they're all running short on fuel. Jean Pallian's just began into turn 4 on Deneen, so missed that one, but I'd imagine that was a nice clean move because Jean Pallian's usually a very good overtaker, what I've seen previously. Here we go, watch the top three here. You can see TMC 1, 2, Livid, Hugo in third with Nick for Academy in fourth, along with Spag in fifth and Pog in sixth. I'll do my best to keep up and get you some points before we go off the air, so stick around for a few minutes while I do some quick sums that can give you a rough idea of who's finished where, but the official results will be posted on Twitter. But up towards the line, and here he comes, second in race number 1 tonight in Mexico. Across the line to take first here in Interlagos. Calspur is your winner. Second, third. Nick across the line for Livid Academy in fourth, having gained 5 places. Pog takes fifth on penalties, and no he doesn't, in fact Jean Pallian does, up 10 places on penalties in fifth. Pog in sixth, Spag down to seventh, Lewis in eighth, Deneen ninth, Dan Morris in 10th, Siege in 11th, Calzo takes 12th as Sam is, well, Sam's off the track somewhere there, he's making the best at the end. He's in 13th, Francis over in 14th, Bullet Boy goes 13th because of penalties, so Sam 14th, Francis 15th, CR7 to take 16th place and decides to crash it into the wall because, well, it wasn't his favourite race at all, and Sloss will take the final position shortly in 17th place. Whoo-wee! That was a lot of action, a lot more going on there in this one than there was in the first round in Mexico. A wee bit more argy-bargy as well, unfortunately, though, which is not what we like to see. But across the line goes Sloss, and he takes the final standing there. So, your winner for race number 4 here at Brazil, and that is Calspur. A fantastic driving for me. Easily the driver of the night, coming from the back of the field in race number 1 at Mexico to take second place. He now takes a second place start into the win, and he is first in that easily for me driver of the. A lot of good drives through the field, but his stands out mainly due to Mexico, and he's drove away supremely well here at Interlagos. Fantastic stuff from them. So, run you through the standings. I'll try and get the points noted down as I go along as well. Oh, I've got some progression points, lovely. Right, anyway, Calspur in first place, Scoopman second, it's Hugo who takes third for Livid Racing, Nick fourth for Livid's Academy, Jean Pallian with a great fifth place for CPI in fifth place, picking up 16 points, Pog in sixth place for Livid Racing, Spag for the Academy team in 7th, and we've got Lewis in 8th place. Deneen takes 9th for the Academy team for Livid. Dan Morris takes 10th. Siege in 11th. Calzo takes 12th. I'm running out of time. Oh no, I've got plenty of time, good. Bullet Boy is 13th. I've missed where I was. Who was that last? Calzo. So, yep, Bullet Boy takes 13th. Sam in 14th for TTG, so he will take 7 points. Francis in 15th for Livid. CR7 in 16th for TMC after a horrible start to the race for him. Sloss finishes in 17th. And Sinclair retired, as did Casper from the race here this evening. Thank you very much to everyone who has joined. Don't disappear just yet. I am going to quickly try and give you a rough unofficial guess of who has won here this evening. We all know likely who has won the main championship. I'm going to do my best to get you some points here. Give me 2 seconds, you can listen to some more music. Okay, so thank you very much for holding on there. These are, of course, unofficial results, of course, pending any stewards' inquiries and any changes, and of course, pending on the fact that was my maths right or not, because, well, I never passed maths at school. But if I am correct, we have double champions, Livid Esports Racing, take the victory. I think that's not really in much doubt considering the results they had. If I've got the maths right, 252 points for Livid Esports, so well done to them on defending their crown. We'll see them next time, see if they can make it a three-peat and hat-trick in the Esports Mini League. Second place goes to TMC on 205 points. A fantastic set of results here this evening from them to take the glory, and second place is absolutely brilliant for them. Livid Academy in third on 180 points on their debut season here in the League 1 tier, and I'm sure they'll be happy with that, not ending up getting relegated after season 1, so they're going to be around for that tricky season number 2, but if they can carry the speed they've had here this time, then there's a good chance they'll be up fighting for it one more time next time by. TTG take 4th position on 110 points, despite being short of a couple of drivers here tonight. They've done just enough. Week 1 helping them out very good, with CPI finishing in 5th place on 98 points, and if that is correct, then CPI are relegated down to League number 2, and they'll be replaced by the League 2 winners, who I'm not too sure, because obviously that stream was finishing while we started. So again, this will all be posted up on the Twitter page, which is at Esports Mini. You can follow us on Twitter. Don't forget to follow TTG as well. That's TTG Esports, TTGaming Esports, sorry. You can follow myself if you wish on Twitter as well, if you want to see all the stuff that I'm up to when it comes to driving and commentary, and just listen to my general ramblings if you've enjoyed my commentary tonight. You can see my PSN name on the screen. My Twitter is exactly the same. It is Andy81287. Before I sign off, I just want to thank everybody who's joined us through all 3 leagues. First time we've done 3 leagues on this, and first time we've had overlapping teams, and it seems to have been a fantastic success, and a lot of enjoyment seems to have been had by all. In terms of League 1, I want to thank Livid for providing us with their their teams, their esports team and the academy team. Obviously ourselves at TTG for bringing along our main team, TMC with some fantastic stuff from their team, and CPI, and if they have been relegated, commiserations to them, but I'm sure they'll bounce back bigger and stronger next time by. Keep an eye on the Twitter to find out when the next league is taking taking place. It'll be plastered all over the place. Until next time, thank you very much for joining us. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to TTTV. I will be back tomorrow night alongside Kieran McGinley for TTL F1. We head to the Hungaroring in Hungary for round number 6 of the season, and what has been some fantastic racing there as well. But until next time, my name is Andy Campbell. Thank you very much all for joining us. Until next time, we'll see you.